When we invest in ourselves, we all shine. Together, We are Black beyond measure.
I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and it's time to get wealthy. You're going to learn exactly what you need to know and do to finally achieve the level of financial success you desire and you deserve. Have you ever had $1 million idea and wondered if it truly was a good idea and you could take a product to market? According to Harvard Business School, 95% of new products that are offered in the marketplace actually fail. And that's not just, Joe Homey or anybody. Even large companies fail with their products. You remember Coca-Cola and the new Coke? Or maybe you don't remember Frito-Lay came out with a lip balm that tastes like Cheetos. That's what we're going to talk about today. What do you need to do and know to actually bring a product to market and be successful? Well, here are the 3 things you need to know in order to do well. First, you've got to do your research. Second, it's important to build a prototype so you actually have a product that you can then validate and see if you have customers who will actually buy it. And that's why I'm glad we're having a conversation with someone today who had a great idea and she wanted to solve a problem. Sherrill Mosse felt like she was carrying so many bags and was overloaded. She even called the term overloaded syndrome, from a backpack for your books to a package or a bag for your clothes, your workout clothes. She wanted to design something that would give you organization and also be fashionable. She brought that idea to market, and now it's known as Minkeeblue, and we want to welcome Sherrill Mosse to Get Wealthy. Thank you for coming to Get Wealthy, joining us today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Now, did I describe your idea correctly?
You absolutely did. And you hit right on those points. You want to do your research, validate the idea, right? So you hit it right on the nail. Absolutely.
So before we get started, I want our viewers to know a little bit about you. I mean, did you dream of creating a product and one day bringing it to market? Was that your background?
No, my background is engineering, and I just stumbled upon becoming what I'm known now as the bag lady. What happened was I was taking the train in the city, and I was carrying my lunch bag. I had my laptop. I had my shoes in a plastic grocery bag. Sometimes, we want to switch out those flats and those heels. So I had that bag inside of my tote bag, and I was just struggling with 2 or 3 bags on the train. And I looked around on the train and I said, you know what? There are a lot of women that are carrying two or 3 bags while commuting to work. And that's when I started thinking about this whole bag idea.
I'm so glad you shared the fact that you didn't have a background in it, because I think so often that's why people are fearful of bringing their ideas to light, if you will, and marketing it, is they think you need all the technical know-how. And so we on Get Wealthy have a framework for success, and it's called Mindset, Strategy, and Execution. And so I'd like to think about bringing a product to market in that framework. And so you were an engineer. And the question I have is, here you probably worked for a large corporation. Now you're really becoming an entrepreneur. What kind of mindset shift did it take you? Did you have to take in order to bring this idea to light?
Yeah, that was a big step because I'm gonna back up a little bit. So I was an engineer at a large company, and then I was laid off, and I started a nonprofit organization, and where I was working with student moms. I was helping raising money to pay for their childcare so they can stay in school. And so even watching the moms with their diaper bag and their book bag, and then me taking the train all culminated in this idea. And so when you talk about the mindset, I was like, well, I don't know anything about manufacturing or fashion design. So when I came up with this idea, fear set in, just like you said, because I didn't really know anything about designing a bag. I didn't know anything about materials or even merchandising or marketing. And so I was literally just sabotaging my own self by saying, you don't know anything about this. You can't do it. So it really took me almost a year before I got started. One day it was a mind shift. It was like, if you don't do this now, you have a degree in engineering, talking to myself, you can figure this out. So oftentimes, even when we don't know anything about what we're going to make or do, there's such a wealth of information out there, and there's so many resources and people that you can connect to. And that's what I did. That the first thing that you said when you opened up the conversation is do the research. So that was the point I started it. If I didn't know anything else, I knew that I could start with doing research.
So that leads me to another question that I'm sure someone who is thinking, well, she was an engineer and she's bringing a product to market. She knows how to figure things out. Do you feel like your engineering background gave you an advantage?
I do, but I often say, it even if I didn't have a degree in engineering, it was about problem solving. We see it every day when people are working on different products. It could be a mom that having a different experience doing something with her child and find it difficult or cumbersome, and she can't find anything. So she makes this product. So it starts with the mindset, because like I just said, I didn't know anything about anything, but it was about problem solving. And so I try to break it down to the smallest thing possible that I could do without having any education. And that is research, networking, connecting with people, getting started at that place.
And then finally, how did you were a year and you said it took you a year to actually get started. What do you think the catalyst for you just overcoming those doubts? If someone is having a lot of doubts about getting started, actually delivering some kind of product.
Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah, so my mother would always say to me when I was younger, nothing beats a failure but a try. And I figure if I never even tried it, I don't want to wake up one morning when I'm much older and regret that I never even tried. If we don't just step out on faith and just give it a try, we'll never know if we'll be successful. And so that's what it was. It's like, I at least got to give this a try. So that's really what pushed me, and the fact that if I don't do it, somebody else will. Because oftentimes, we think alike. We all have the same type of problem. So if I don't do it, someone else will do it.
That's a great point, and I'm sure myself included, I've encountered a problem. I'm like, man, I bet you if I created XYZ, this would be a great product. And then you go into the store and you see those products that say, as seen on TV, and you thought, man, that was my idea. You bring up a really good point, and that's all of us can have great ideas, and yet we don't follow through. I was reading this book called Big Magic, and it was by the author that wrote Eat, Pray, Love. And she was talking about a book that she had started writing, and long story short, she lost the book because of some kind of circumstances. And then she was talking with one of her mentors, and her mentor was telling her about this project that she was working on, and it literally was the same story.
Wow.
And so, it's like opportunities aren't lost, they just go to other people. And so in our next segment, I want to talk about the second piece of the framework of mindset, strategy, execution, and that's strategy. So you got over the doubts, you got started. Next, I want to talk about what you did to really begin to figure things out. So don't go anywhere, folks. I'm talking with Sherrill Mosse of Minkeeblue, who has now created an organizational fashion bags of all types, and you can find them in stores everywhere, in particular Macy's. So when we come back, we're talking about strategy.
Let's be honest, as successful women, we're crushing it. Maxed out 401k and Roth IRA? Check. Aggressive savings and investments? Check. Yet, the freedom our success was supposed to buy can leave us stuck on the six-figure hamster wheel, watching retirement slip further down the road. There's another way. Get coaching courses and community at wealthyu.com.
When we invest in ourselves, we're investing in what's next for all of us. Growing, creating, making moves that move us all forward. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it.
This is about covering us.
Invest in Black-owned media.
Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks.
We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible.
Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
When we invest in ourselves, we all shine. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Deborah Owens, and this is Get Wealthy, and we're talking about getting wealthy by actually creating a product to do so. Our guest in my conversation today is with Sherrill Mosse, and she's talking about how she brought an idea to light, and now you can find it in stores. So, Sherrill, the next part of this framework is strategy. So you did your research, and I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. They'll do the homework, but they won't get started. So then what was your strategy to actually get your first product even manufactured?
Yeah. So, the first thing in thinking about this whole bag idea was that if I was going to do this, I had to differentiate my bag from everything on the market because the handbag industry is oversaturated. So how could I differentiate myself from everything else? And so I decided that if I was going to do something, I needed to have a patent. This is the way my mind worked. I wanted to have a patent on my bag, and so I came up with the idea for the organization with a shelf, a folding shelf in the middle of the bag. And I started doing my research again. I started shopping, going online to see if anybody else had this similar idea. I didn't find anything. And I actually started looking at patents. I'm very geeky in that way. So I started looking at patents, doing it that way. But really pushed it over is that I don't sew. I don't draw. So again, I'm like, how am I going to make this bag and kind of bring this idea to life? So what I did is I actually went to Target. I bought a bag of the same shape and size of this bag that I was thinking about. And I just started cutting it up and putting things in place that I had imagined to create this prototype that I envisioned. So
I love that because that was really my next question was, how do you create a prototype? That's a great idea. Go find something similar and adapt it to what you already have. But the question I have for you is, in your research, how did you even, you saw women carrying all these different bags. Sounds like a great idea, but how did you determine that there would really be a need for this product before you actually started investing in manufacturing the product?
Yeah, so when I came up with my prototype, I started sharing it with people that I knew that was in my circle. And then I applied for what is called a provisional patent, which allows you to have patent pending, but it also gives you 12 months to kind of test out your idea before you apply for the full patent. So when I did the provisional patent, I started sharing my prototype to other groups of people that I did not know. I started thinking about, what do we carry in our bags oftentimes, what do we carry during the day, and how can I organize that in this new type of bag? Because it's really, figuring out the differentiator in the bag. And just started sharing with people. Oftentimes we don't want to share ideas because we say, right, somebody's going to steal our idea. But at some point you have to share it to validate, like you said in the beginning of the conversation, to kind of validate your idea, what it is that you're doing.
Great point. And in all of that, you said that you started sharing it with other people. And I often think of focus groups, right? Yep. Many companies do focus groups, whether it's on customers. And I wonder if you had a test market group and if you were able to get, when you got feedback, did you incorporate it? How did you know that it was something that maybe could enhance what you were trying to accomplish?
Yeah, so when I was working with the student moms, I had a connection right there with moms and daycare. So I did focus group with the student moms that I was already working with and daycare providers. I absolutely incorporated their feedback into the bags. When I first started, I started with the diaper bags because it made sense with the type of work that I was doing in my nonprofit. I still incorporate the feedback and ideas that my customers give me today because they're carrying it every day, and it's a large group of women that are carrying. So I always listen to my customers, make improvements on the bags according to what they say. So it is important to listen to the customer, but at the beginning, definitely you want to do focus groups. You want to talk to people. The other thing, you want to build a community, which I did not do when I first started my business, but I think it's very important to build a community even before you launch.
Well, you wonder, I mean, that's certainly a great idea. You see it in just about every product that you can think of has some kind of Facebook group or cell communities or messaging communities, that sort of thing. The other question I would have for you, so you would create a community about people who want organization, or if you, because I want to give people some insight, and I think you can learn from what others didn't do. So if you had it to do over, what kind of community would you create? Focused on what?
Right. I mean, I would focus on women who carry a lot of bags to work, organization, not just organization, people, not just organization with what you carry, but maybe organizing your closet or organizing your home or organizing your pantry. And talk about work or travel. What do you carry in your bags? What do you pack when you travel? How you pack? So all of those things would have made it easier for me to start selling because I would have had that community up front. And believe me, it was not as easy as this conversation is going in the beginning, because I had a lot of obstacles, a lot of challenges in the beginning. If I had to do it over, I would want to understand manufacturing much, much better than what I did. When I first launched, I had 30% defective bags. So I just want to keep it real with the people because it's difficult, but it's about perseverance. It's about, connecting with people, understanding or wanting to learn, to immerse yourself, determination. So it's all that mindset, right? Because it's going to be challenging. It's going to be difficult. There are going to be some hard times because you're figuring it out. I never did this before. So you're learning, you're failing, you're figuring it out as you go along.
Whoa, that's great insight, because here's what I truly believe. I truly believe that you learn more from your mistakes and failure than you do your successes.
Absolutely.
Because I believe that, sometimes quick success, we can become complacent and think that things are easy, right? So we kind of lose that sense of urgency. Which is what you need oftentimes to bring something to fruition. You need that sense of urgency. And that's what I want to talk about next, is how you actually were able to execute on getting that first product to market and what came after. So don't go anywhere, folks. Coming up, we're going to talk about how you execute on actually bringing your product to market. I'm Deborah Owens. Keep watching. This is Get Wealthy.
When we invest in ourselves, we're investing in what's next for all of us. Growing, creating, making moves that move us all forward. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
When we invest in ourselves, our glow, our vision, our vibe, we all shine. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
Welcome back, everyone. We're having a wonderful conversation with someone who had an idea. And that idea really stemmed from wanting to solve a problem that she had, but noticed that many other people had too. If that's you, then you want to continue to join in this conversation with me, with Sherrill Mosse. She is the founder and designer of Minkeeblue bags. Sherrill, you've given us so much insight, and I love the fact that you've been keeping it real. And so where I really want to go to now is strategy. My first question to you, however, in this segment is, where did you find the money? How much money should someone have if they're going to take a venture and actually manufacture a product?
Yeah, that's a difficult thing for me to answer from the beginning because it's something I never did. I mean, that was actually the other thing I thought about. I said, oh my God, if I knew how much money this business costs, I don't know. But sometimes, being naive is to your advantage in being successful, because if I knew half the stuff that I knew, that I know now, I was like, I don't know about this business. But to answer your question, in the beginning, I had some savings, and it's all a mindset, right? Because now you're taking risks with your money. And then I did a crowdfunding campaign. I raised money that way. So it was family and friends and through crowdfunding initially. And then it's loans. And so it's really about finding the money, using other people's money to build your business. And that's basically it. You got to make a way.
So you didn't really have sort of like a budget or a business plan. You were more focused on getting a prototype, bringing it to market, and in hopes that the demand would be there and you could sell that product.
Yes.
One of the points that you made, though, is that you are a first generation. Is that true? Are you a first generation entrepreneur?
You know what? My grandmother owned a hair salon, so I'm going to give credit to her. She owned a hair salon. Absolutely. But to the scale that I am now, yes. But, I do want to add that oftentimes there are a few things that keep us from moving forward and starting a business, right? So it's fear and money. And so that was another thing that held me back. I was like, I don't have any money to start a business. So that added into that fear and starting Minkeeblue. But it was something, that mindset, you just got to start with where you are and what you have. And then it just, each step you figure things out. Where's the money going to come from? That was my strategy, whether wrong or right. That was the strategy, because oftentimes we don't really have money to start a business, but you just got to go in.
Well, I think what's interesting, though, is one of the things that we've seen is this whole startup culture. And you mentioned crowdfunding, and the Jobs Act of, I want to say it was 2014, allowed you now to crowdfund even more without having to get into regulatory issues. If you had access to that knowledge about how to get access to capital as a small business without necessarily having to risk your savings, would you have taken another route? The only reason I asked you this is because one of the things you said out of the gate, listen, I got something manufactured and 30% of them were defective, right? So yeah. I guess if you had it to do over again, would you fund your business a different way?
Absolutely. I mean, I came up with the idea in 2012 and I launched in 2014. So there were a lot of things. I just didn't know what I didn't know. And I think today, in the last couple of years or few years, we have access to funds. There's more available. Not that we're all getting the funds, but 8 years ago, I had no idea about equity, raising money, all of that. I had no idea. So I would have absolutely knew that. I think we just have more resources today, but back then I just didn't know. There were as many resources available.
And one of the other things I was going to ask, even when we first started this conversation, was if there was someone who you sought out, who maybe had manufactured someone and could give you some guidance. Did you seek out a mentor, someone who already had this experience?
Yeah, when I started, I looked for groups that I could connect with. And one in particular was SCORE. People may be familiar with SCORE, but it is funded by the SBA. They're across the country, and they are a group that will match you with mentors. And SCORE is a great organization. So I had connected with a couple of mentors at SCORE that were in manufacturing and business. So that was very helpful.
So give us a sense, though. You had this idea, 2012, you launched in 2014. So you're a 10-year overnight success, right? But so now give us a sense of where you are in terms of your business. Where can we find your bags? And they're no longer, I'm looking at all the different types of bags you have behind you. Give us an update on Minkeeblue. Where are you now?
Yeah, so I've come a long way for somebody who never designed a bag now. I'm into this thing now. I love designing. I love creating. I love problem solving. And so Minkeeblue is sold around the world now. We will be in Macy's the end of October, definitely just in time for the holiday season. Yes. And so I'm working with other major retailers for 2023. So this is a very exciting time. There's opportunity for licensing and private labeling because I have intellectual property. So all of that hard work that I did in the beginning is definitely paying off. So it's being patient, right? Because you mentioned 10 years, people would have gave up a long time ago. Some people are successful in 3 years, 5 years. But I am in it to win it, and I'm here, and I'm enjoying myself. I love what I do every day. It's hard, but I love it.
Well, what's most exciting is that you have the proof sitting with you right there in the room. And when we come back, what I want to do is go into our Analyze, Optimize, and Maximize segment. That's kind of a lightning round. I want to take everything that you've said, and if somebody were starting out and had an idea and is watching this program, I want them to know the 3 things they need to do. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back.
When we invest in ourselves, we're investing in what's next for all of us. Growing, creating, making moves that move us all forward. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it.
This is about covering us.
Invest in Black-owned media.
Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks.
We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible.
Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is RolandSMartin.com.
When we invest in ourselves, we all shine. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
I hope you're enjoying this conversation. It's time for our Analyze, Optimize, Maximize segment. If you're someone who's been thinking about an idea and now you want to bring it to market. We have Sherrill Mosse here. She is the designer of Minkeeblue bags. You heard her. You can see her bags all over the world. So let's start there, Sherrill. So analyze, optimize, maximize. So based on what you said today, watching this program, if I were someone who wanted to bring a product, what do I need to analyze first in order to take the first step?
So we've been saying it all along. It's about research. You want to see what's already on the market, and you want your product to be different. What differentiates your product from everything else on the market?
Love it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So the second thing I would actually do, and this would be different from what I did when I started, is to build that community. So start talking about your product or your idea, or talking to people who are going through the problems that you're trying to solve. So that way, when you launch your product, you'll already have customers at hand.
Oh, that's a great idea. And because that brings me really to optimizing. You say traditional marketing has been word of mouth, advertising, which can be very expensive. But your point is, if you could optimize that by already building a community around the product that you're and the problem that you solve, you probably can use that community for a number of things. You had a little community being in that high school with those pregnant moms, and that you could test ideas with. So great advice. And then even as you're manufacturing these products now, and they're in stores around the world, and now you've got a huge customer like Macy's. How does social media and marketing play a role in what advice would you give our viewers about using these social media platforms to help you be successful with the product?
Oh, yeah. You know what? I shied away from social media for so long. Oh, my God. But it's so important. That's where your people are, on social media. So first you find your platform. Where is your target market hanging? Because you may not need to be on all of the platforms. So you can pick your platform where your demographics is hanging out. And then the key is to be consistent. That's where we fall off. I fell off, but I'm on it now, is you have to be consistent.
I love it. Well, you know what, to that end, and give us a little inside baseball. When you looked at what you were selling, what was the ideal product platform for Minkeeblue?
You know, right? It's Instagram and TikTok. And what I love, what really has helped my mindset with being more consistent, is that the reels, they are so short, 15 seconds, 30 seconds. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't even have to talk through this. But what's important for my product is that I have to demonstrate. And so I do these very short reels where I'm demonstrating the product, because again, I need to show how it's different from everything else on the market. So we on Instagram, a couple of months ago, we went viral. One of the videos picked up steam, and over 20 million people saw that thing. And I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. And TikTok, we did the same thing. Yeah, so my people are on Instagram and TikTok. So that's where you'll see me hanging out. I might do a little dance, but I'm always showing you a bag.
I love it. You know, you've given us a wealth of information today, Sherrill Mosse. I am just so excited about your growth. We met each other years ago, and just to see what you've been able to accomplish and how you brought this idea to life and now is so globally. It's so amazing. Just leave us with a closing comment.
Oh, thank you so much. All I would say is nothing beats a failure but a try. You just got to get out there and give it a try.
That's great. So when we come back, the 3 takeaways from today's show.
When we invest in ourselves, we all shine. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Well, I hope you enjoyed Get Wealthy. It was all about bringing an idea to life, and that's certainly what Sherrill Mosse of Minkeeblue has been able to accomplish. So here are the 3 things that you need to take away from today's show. Do your homework. You heard it. Research, and make sure that you're differentiating your product from others in the marketplace. Second, create a prototype or product. You don't have to be a master sewer or know everything you need to do. She shared how she took something very similar and made a prototype out of it. And then finally, guess what? Your product means absolutely nothing if you don't have any customers. So make sure you validate your sales. But that last tip also means you might want to go ahead and start that community. Thank you so much for joining us on Get Wealthy. I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach. You can watch us only on Black Star Network. Fantastic.
When we invest in ourselves, we all shine. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it.
This is about covering us.
Invest in black-owned media.
Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks.
We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible.
Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is rolling@RolandSMartin.com.